ECU?
R.
Do you bleed purple and gold? Are you ready to hoist the colors?
Hoist the colors!
It's time for the most in-depth look into the world of ECU athletics. Welcome to Hoist the Colors with your host, Stephen Igo on 94.3 The Game. Watch the show live on Facebook and at 943thegame.com. Here's Stephen Igo.
Welcome in. It is Hoist the Colors on a Tuesday, May 19th. Conference tournament action is underway, and there is a lot happening across the country already. NC State Duke squaring off in an ACC tournament game in Durham, and that one 8-8 in the 7th inning. We'll be bringing you some live reaction to that, also discussing all the scenarios, all the ins and outs. Pirates, of course, won't play till Friday, which is an advantage, but once it does begin, they could have a lot of games depending on how it unfolds in a short amount of time. So we'll get into that, a whole lot more. A lot of college baseball talk coming your way today. We've got Philip Pilkington behind the glass. We have got the Carolina Curveball Duo, our 1-2 punch. We've got Kaysen Romeli and Braxton Bodorf joining us. We'll start with Kaysen. It's one of the best times of the year if you're a college baseball fan, and there's nothing quite like it, man.
There is nothing quite like it indeed. It is great to be back on the show. Great to be here with Braxton. Looking forward to this one. Got a lot of things to discuss across the Carolinas, as well as if the Pirates can lock in their bid.
Indeed. It'll be a hectic week for East Carolina as the Duke just hit a go-ahead grand slam. They did. Goodness gracious. Good news for ECU fans. I may have spoiled you there, Philip. You're a Duke fan.
Oh, good.
Honestly,
Duke's not making any run. I'm just more worried. I'm just pulling against Michigan. I'm pulling against Duke. I'm pulling against Virginia Tech. There's somebody else that plays, I feel like, tonight that's right there on the bubble in a power conference that I'm going against. Maybe it's just Michigan.
Purdue was getting smacked earlier, and that's
by Sparty.
Yeah. So, Caden Smith, go ahead, grand slam. Braxton Bodorf, I think that was first pitch from Heinrich into the game. So, not good news for NC State fans, but good news for college baseball fans. This time of year is pretty electric, man.
Yeah, it was his first pitch, Caden Smith. That's his second of the day, too. Like you said, helps out ECU. But, yeah, best time of year. I love just waking up to baseball. Like, the morning games are the best. I know if you're playing, it's probably not preferred, but, like, just waking up, having breakfast, and watching baseball is the best. This, like you said, this time of year is just electric, so I can't wait to watch it all play out.
What's the earliest you ever played in your collegiate career? Do you remember?
Probably 9 or 10. I remember we had like conference championship, like those Sunday or Mondays, like if necessary games. We'd start those at like 10, or sometimes it'd be noon. But yeah, 9 or 10 is the earliest I ever played in college for sure.
And it'll be a 9 a.m. start for ECU. I guess weather permitting. There is some rain kind of mixed in throughout the week in Clearwater. We'll keep you updated there. But we'll start close to home, guys. Obviously, this is an ECU-based show. We'll go around the country, around the region. But it's just been, I feel like every week we have Kaysen on where we're talking about either the ups or the downs with ECU baseball. Last week it was the down. This week it's back up. And it's just been that way all year, Kaysen. And now they're trending up for now. Get a little bit of a break here. I don't think any of us expected to be talking about a share of a regular season title, but we are here. And your thoughts on the Pirates at least finishing the regular season on a high note?
I think it speaks for the program that you could say this was a down year and they were the co-conference champions. I think that speaks to the volumes of Cliff Godwin's coaching ability, his ability to rally the troops, so to speak. And like he said yesterday in his interview with you guys, I just think it's awesome that this team doesn't have to play today. They are the 2 seed and they play on Friday. They play at 9 a.m., which I think is good. You can go ahead and get it out of the way. You're not kind of waiting for it all day. You wake up and go ahead and hit the field and play, and you get to watch the baseball play out. You get to have exactly 60 minutes of beach time, which is good for the team. And I think they are just in a really, really good spot right now, coming off that sweep, good away series win, and then went to go see Connor Norby last night play, which was pretty neat to see those pictures and just them kind of just chillaxing until they have to play on Friday.
So we do have the American Conferences drop some awards. We'll get to those here in a minute for the ECU standpoint. But Braxton, I'm curious. Obviously you guys do a great job, by the way, covering all the teams for Carolina Curveball. Make sure you check that out. They had their conference tournament preview last night, and you guys will have more shows throughout this week. I'm sure you guys do your projected field of 64. But you are not an ECU alum. You are a guy who obviously follows college baseball closely in the business. So, just what do you make of this year for ECU as not really an ECU alum or a fan, but just a well-versed college baseball person? Like, it's been up and down, but do you think they have what it takes to get into the tournament and make a run here?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, it has been an up and down year. They've struggled to find that consistency, which I think is the most frustrating part for ECU fans. But, you look at it, obviously the injuries are one thing that's been a talking point all year, but to look at it and to be in a better spot than you were last year in this tournament that you won last year as the 6th seed, I think you've got to take that as confidence going into this week. I think if you're ECU, you don't need to worry as much about other people because your metrics are there, right? Like we talk about how weak the bubble is, like ECU's RPI and their strength of schedule is right there. So I think just being the 2 seed of this tournament should give you a lot of confidence. And this is also a group, I think it's 7 or 8 guys returning in the position player group that have won this tournament last year, right? So I think that they should be confident to go in and be able to win this tournament and play postseason ball. And even if you don't, you still might have a chance, right? So I think being that it was an inconsistent season, you're still in a better spot than you were last year. So I think you've got to kind of build off that and, just hope that you play your best baseball here this week.
We'll talk more about the American tournament here in a minute, as obviously that'll be the big focus. The American all-conference teams and newcomer of the year, coach of the year, all that was just dropped. East Carolina heavily represented in the all-conference team. You got Ethan Norby, first-team pitcher, Joseph Webb, first-team pitcher, Braden Burris, first-team second baseman, Jack Karen, second-team outfielder, and then Grady Linehan, Ethan Rose make the all-freshman team. ECU did not get any of the major awards. Connor Miles, pitcher of the year, went to UTSA. Jason Jones went to, he won newcomer of the year from Wichita State. Player of the year went to Drew Detlefson from UTSA. A little surprised Jack Carring is second team. I mean, that dude had a freaking year. How is he not first team? I'll have to dive into the numbers, but 54 game on base streak. I mean,
yeah, I'm excuse me. I'm looking at it right now. He's 4th in the conference in batting average. I'm looking at it right now. The only guys above him are Caden Miller, Drew Desfleen, like you said, and then Zachary Diagrove Rice. And I mean, he was first 2 weeks ago when I looked. I mean, he's been consistently up there. I mean, yeah, I don't understand how he is second team at all. Yeah, that makes no sense to me.
Yeah, I mean, I thought he was a candidate for player of the year, and for him to be second team seems crazy to me. Now I know that the outfielders here, JP Head had 20 home runs, Detlefson the player of the year, and Jason Wax for Tulane is legit. But like, heck, stick him at DH or something. I think I don't know, Philip. Any quick take here?
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned the on-base streak. Yeah, he's not the greatest outfielder, just kind of due to lack of speed. I think he takes a good route to the ball, and he has a solid glove. But it seems like with these awards, man, defense is not really usually brought into it that much. I mean, catcher, yeah, you don't want some guy who just gets ran on constantly. But like you said, is if there's an all-conference DH spot, give it to him there, because we know, DH doesn't mean you specifically has to be a designated hitter. It's just you're being awarded for your hitting. The same reason that you can put anybody at DH in fantasy baseball, right? So I think it's kind of weird. It's a snub, but hey, look, you don't play the game for postseason awards. You play the game for postseason trophies, and you find yourself in Omaha. Who cares?
Yeah, even now Detlefson had great numbers, 385 average, OPS over 1,000. But like pitcher of the year, Connor Miles, he did go 9-1, but 3.52 ERA. He struck out 57 in 69 innings, 244 batting average against. Like, I mean, it's just, to me, is a solid pitcher. Like, I guess there's just no great pitching in the American. I don't know. Like, that one doesn't really make sense to me. Norby's ERA probably too high, and Towers probably not enough of a workload, but I guess it comes down to the American just doesn't have much pitching, because that's a pretty underwhelming pitcher of the year line. But I don't know. I'll dive more into this later. The bracket, gentlemen, action gets underway tomorrow. This is an interesting bracket in that you have single elimination on Wednesday, FAU versus Wichita State, then Memphis versus Charlotte. Rice and UAB get a single bye. They play on Thursday when double elimination tournament starts. ECU and UTSA get the double bye to Friday, where double elimination continues. So, Kaysen, what are some keys for you going into this tournament for ECU, and do you have like a dark horse besides the Pirates you're watching?
I think a dark horse that I have is a team that had loads of names on the all-conference list that I was just looking at while you read them off is UAB. And I think it could be a good and a bad thing because if I'm not mistaken, UTSA was eliminated last year before they could have played the Pirates, correct?
Believe so, yes.
Yes, like right, I'm pretty sure pretty early. So I think that UAB, if they can defeat Charlotte or Memphis and then maybe can beat UTSA, that can kind of maybe lighten ECU's path or make it harder. You never know. It's about playing good at the right time. But Braxton has Rice winning the American. So Braxton said last night on our show that Rice is a sneaky team in the American.
Yeah, and Braxton, they have legit pitching. They're probably the one team in the league that has 3 bona fide starters, although maybe ECU does now after the emergence of Luke Payne. But I'm guessing that's a reason for your pick, and they're also playing pretty good baseball here.
Yeah, it is. I really like their pitching staff. David Pierce has done a really good job turning that program around. I mean, you think back to, I don't know how long ago it was, but they were a pinnacle program in college baseball for a while. But I was really impressed the way they went into Greenville and took that series from East Carolina, not too long ago. And I like where they're at as a 3 seed. Obviously, they don't get the double bye. Like, I think that's really important for ECU that they get the double bye. But I did pick Rice. I think they're a dark horse to win this tournament. And I would like to see as well, for Carolina's sake, Charlotte get out of the play-in too, because, they had obviously a great start to the year, but really fell off, as we know. And they did work their way back to get into the tournament. So I'm hoping that, they can kind of get a win here in the play-in game and just kind of extend their season a little longer and maybe make something happen. But, yeah, I've got Rice winning it.
Yeah, no doubt. Friend of the program, Coach Woodard. Tough year for the 49ers after they got off to a good start. And USF and Tulane not even making the tournament field. Crazy.
Hey, Tulane can't turn it on and beat ECU in the tournament if they ain't there. That's all I know.
They'll still find a way to show up and wreak havoc somehow. Corey Glore will show his face down there. Key, I'll go around the horn here. ECU, what player needs to deliver for the Pirates to make a run here? We'll start with Kaysen.
I'm going to go a very boring answer, but I'm going to go Jack Herring. Jack Herring's going to be mad he wasn't on first team or in consideration for player of the year, and he's going to go on an absolute tear and probably bat around 600 and just take the Pirates all the way there.
There's always one that gets snubbed, and this year's Jack Herring. I can remember in past years, Jacob Jenkins Coward, I think, Thomas Francisco, Dixon Williams one year, I believe. So there's always one going to the tournament. What about you, Braxton?
I like that Jack Herring call. I think he's kind of got that bulletin board material now, but I'm going to go a different direction. I'm going to go Austin Irby. I think this is a guy where you look last year, there's certain players that kind of step up in big moments in postseason play. And I think, you look at the regional he had last year, it's a very different, it's like the season starts over when the postseason starts. And I think there's some guys that kind of rise to that occasion and other guys that don't. And I think, he proved last year he can be a guy that rises to that occasion. So, he hasn't had the greatest of seasons, but I think he could get hot here in the month of May and June.
Philip?
I don't see ECU going 0-2. And regardless of when that third game's played, whether it's a game on Saturday because they have dropped one, or whether it's Sunday in the championship game, Norby will be done and Towers will be done. So Luke Payne is going to have a great outing in order for these Carolina Pirates to win the conference tournament.
I'm going to go with our guy, Michael Kalinic. Big Mike. He doesn't start games. He just pinch hits and drops bombs. And I know there's been some calling to start him. He hasn't delivered really as a starter. I like him in this pinch hit role. Him and Bachman, I like the DH platoon. So I'm going to go with Kalinic. He is a Florida guy. Had a good weekend in Boca, standing down in Florida. Likes hitting in the heat. So I'm going to go Michael Kalinic. He's a big week and some power at key points in Clearwater. All right, guys, final thing before we take a break. Obviously, we know ECU's on the bubble. What about rest of the teams from the region that we're keeping an eye on this week? Obviously, State is one of those. They're down 12-8 in the 8th inning to Duke right now. Braxton, any others that you're really watching that are true bubble watch at this point?
Yeah, obviously East Carolina State. I would probably throw Virginia Tech in there as well. You know, they had a couple big wins against Clemson, who I think, by the way, Clemson I think is out. I just don't see a team that's 10-20 in league play or whatever it is making the tournament. Yes, they have a decent RPI, but they're going to need to win the tournament this week. You know, that's probably it in the region that are on the bubble. Obviously, we talk about guys like Campbell and High Point having to win their tournaments, and then Western Carolina is right there too. When we dive into the SoCon, but you know, there's going to be some bid stealers, but relatively a weak bubble this year, so there's going to be teams that get in the tournament that really aren't that good. You know, so we're going to see how it plays out, but yeah, big week for certain teams like ECU and NC State.
Let me ask you this, guys. Braxton, in case you give your take here. High Point, 36-18, 41 RPI, 34 non-conference strength of schedule. If they don't win the Big South, is there any way they get in as an at-large? I think the Big South is ranked like way down the list. Yeah, they're 12th in our conference RPI, so that would hurt them. But any idea there? Do they have enough to get in as an at-large?
I don't think they do because, like you said, Big South historically hasn't really been a two-bid league ever, other than maybe when Campbell was good, but they would always win the league, right? So, and I think there's a chance because of how weak the bubble is. Like their metrics may be there, and it depends on like the fashion they lose in. And you know, they have that series win down in Gainesville. That's huge. So I think they've got some things in there going their way, but historically looking at it, I would say probably not. Like the Big South winner is typically the only person that gets the bid from that league. So it would be interesting to see though. And I actually do think that there's some teams that can give them trouble in that tournament for sure. So it will be interesting to see if they don't win that tournament, if the committee puts them in.
No doubt. And you could have a High Point versus ECU argument. Let's say if ECU doesn't win the tournament, High Point doesn't either, and it comes down to a last spot. So just want to throw out that scenario there. John Gilbert, by the way, on the committee. Don't know if High Point's AD is, so that could be a factor. Let's get a break in. We'll come back. We'll take a look at the other tournaments that we need to watch. ACC, SEC, Big 12. Is the Big 10 with UCLA's dominance even worth watching? We'll discuss all that after these messages.
You know what the problem is with standard belts? Usually you have to choose between too tight or the opposite, too loose. But with Anson Belt and Buckle, you don't have to choose. We got rid of the holes and instead have a track system designed for micro-adjustability. That way you can enjoy a perfect fit every time. Anson Belt and Buckle. Find your perfect fit today.
Healthwise Pharmacy rounds the bases with all of your infusion, retail, compounding, and medical equipment needs. Locally owned and operated by pharmacist Marcy Parker, Healthwise has grown to be your most trusted provider for infusion services. Currently providing in-home or on-site infusions in North Carolina, South Carolina, and Virginia. Visit Healthwise Pharmacy at 615B South Memorial Drive or call 252-295-0059 to speak to a patient service representative to find the option that best suits your needs.
The best burgers around. Everyone loves a thick, juicy, and fresh burger. Tiebreakers does real burgers better than anybody. And don't forget about the cheese sticks, fresh salads, and more. So don't just go to any burger-themed restaurant chain. It's time to break the chain and eat local. Tiebreakers, burgers and sports at its best.
Go Pirates! Arg!
In this age of globalization, we've learned that bigger isn't always better. Ever tried to get phone help from a big corporation from a real person? Right. That's what's so nice about Phelps Chevrolet. After more than 50 years serving our community, Phelps remains family-owned and operated. Mike, Daryl, Wave, West, Alan, and Clay deliver hometown service and integrity, same as always. They share your experience, they share your values, and they are ready to help with any motoring need. Come get you one.
Daughtridge Gas and Oil has been your dependable propane supplier for 95 years. Their trained technicians can service and properly install all your propane and natural gas appliances. Plus, Daughtridge Gas and Oil is your backyard expert with fire pits, grills, smokers, and more, including quality outdoor furniture at their Greenville Patio and Hearth Shop at 1901 Charles Boulevard. Go by and see the knowledgeable staff at Daughtridge Gas and Oil for propane delivery or call 756-1345.
You have a choice when you invest in insurance, and when you choose First State Insurance Advisors, you're working with people you can trust. Clark Stallings has deep ties in the community. His team, including Keaton Smith, Regina Asby, Phil Leyva, Max Joyner Jr., Max Joyner III, and Ginger Smith, provides knowledgeable and professional advice. First State Insurance Advisors is an independent insurance agency. They offer all types of personal insurance as well as various types for business. Call or email First State Insurance Advisors today. We want to be your
Well, that's enough of that. Back to Hoist the Colors with Steve and Igo on 94.3 The Game.
All right, welcome back in. Hoist the Colors on a Tuesday. Just dropped a few tweets about the American Conference All-League honors. Again, if you missed that, Ethan Orby, Joseph Webb, Braden Burst, first-team picks. Jack Herring, second-team pick, all-freshman team. Grady Linehan, Ethan Rose. I just tweeted about my displeasure over the Jack Herring second-team pick, so check that out. We've got some conference tournament previews on today's show. Carolina Curveballs, Kaysen Rameli, and Braxton Bodorf with us. Make sure to check out their podcast, Carolina Curveballs, on Spotify. They also have their great curveball combos and also their projected fields of 64, their awards, all that great stuff on Carolina Curveball. All right, we got Philip Pilkington behind the scenes working on some social media stuff as well. And, gentlemen, we've got the ACC tournament. Let's dive into that. That is underway, as we talked about, and certainly worth watching from a regional perspective. NC State now trailing 13-8. And this is straight single elimination format. Do y'all prefer this over the pod system they did for a while? Y'all like single elimination better?
Absolutely, because there are teams playing meaningless. Meaningless games.
Yeah, that is fair. I mean, I guess in some ways the pods helped if you needed guaranteed games to bolster that RPI, but otherwise it did feel like there were some meaningless games. The bottom line is, though, there's just no great way to do it when you have to include 16 teams in a week of baseball. But that's the problem with these bloated conferences. So today, NC State, Duke underway, Stanford and Cal. Nothing like Stanford and Cal coming across the country to play in Durham. This is what it's all about. Oh, Charlotte. I keep saying Durham. That's my bad. Clemson, Notre Dame, the 15-10 game, and then Pitt, Louisville. So State's really the only team capable of getting at large in this mix, right? Playing on day one?
Yeah. I think Clemson's dead. You could throw Pitt in there, but I think they're a little bit looking in right now. I think you could throw Pitt in there, but from that group, yeah, State's really the only team that would be at large potential.
Then on day 2, Wednesday, you will have the winner of Duke State take on 8-seeded Virginia. You'll have Miami await the winner of Stanford Cal. Virginia Tech await the winner of Clemson Notre Dame. Pitt Louisville winner will face Wake Forest. Georgia Tech and Boston College get double byes, as do North Carolina and Florida State, the 2 and 3 seeds. Your top 4 seeds there get a big bye. So what are we looking at here? We'll start with Kaysen. What are the biggest storylines in the ACC tournament?
Looking to see if Wake Forest can make a run. They did take the first 2 versus Duke the last weekend and then did drop the last one versus Duke in kind of a head-scratcher. You were kind of hoping they were going to win that game to kind of push them closer to the hosting bubble. And I think that if they do win the ACC tournament, and which means they would have to go through Florida State and probably North Carolina and then probably Georgia Tech. So that means you would have beaten Florida State, North Carolina, and Georgia Tech, 3 regional hosts. I think that would definitely put them in a conversation, if not right on the outside looking in. And just looking for Carolina to just continue their dominance. I think it helps them being able to play their first game on Friday. I like that these conference tournaments are now rewarding the regular season. And before I give it to Braxton, I did want to note on Stephen, there is one conference that I know of that's still doing the pool play, and that's Conference USA. Only conference I know that's still doing the pool play. It
is crazy how these formats change almost every year. Yeah. So obviously Georgia Tech, incredible year. North Carolina, incredible year. I mean, they would be the odds-on favorites to win it, Braxton. But if it's not going to be them, who will it be?
Yeah, I mean, you look at Florida State there as the 3. I think you comfortably have 3 hosts right now, like despite what happens. If you get another team that wins it, like Boston, the only other 2 teams that I could see hosting if they win the tournament is Boston College and Wake. Other than that, Miami and Virginia are kind of weaker 2 seeds right now. I think they could, if they don't tournament, they could see themselves going, maybe to LA as the 2 against UCLA or something like that. Because of course the committee, as we know, is doing it seed wise now, where the 32 seed's going to travel to the 1 and so forth. But I would love to see a Georgia Tech North Carolina rematch in the final. I think that's what everyone's anticipating. But you could see a team make a run at it. I think if you had to throw 2 other teams in there, it'd probably be Florida State or Wake, just because Boston College would have to come up against Georgia Tech, and they just got mollywopped by them this past weekend, all 3 games. So yeah, I'm interested to see who gets out of today, because I think all of tomorrow's games are all teams that are kind of in the tournament as of right now. So they're looking to get some wins. I think the only team that's really right there on the bubble is Virginia Tech. The other 7, I think it is, are safely in right now.
Yeah, I was going to ask about VT for like ECU fans' perspective. They would be another bubble team you want to lose. They're 15-15 in the league, 29-23 overall. Good strength of schedule, 14th nationally, 7-3 non-conference strength of schedule, 7 wins quad 1, 7 wins quad 2. So it's a pretty decent resume. They just don't have many wins. And the other one, Pitt, 11-19 ACC. I just feel like 11-19 ACC, 236 non-conference strength of schedule. I feel like they almost have to win it to get in, Braxton. But VT, if they go one and done, they could go on the wrong side of the bubble, right?
Yes, absolutely. VT is still firmly on the bubble. And yeah, like you said, Pitt with that conference record, I think they're probably more than likely out, being that they didn't finish the season very strong at all. But yeah, Virginia Tech's got to win, I think, tomorrow, in my opinion, or else they're going to be, it's going to be close.
Any picks here? Anybody want to make any picks to win the ACC tournaments? We'll start. I guess y'all did it on the show last night, Kaysen, so you should have y'all's ready to go. Who you got, Kaysen?
Yeah, on our graphic, I picked Boston College, which is a bizarre pick considering what just happened to them versus Georgia Tech. But hey, I'm gonna stick with the Eagles. I think it's hard to mollywop a team 4 times, so maybe they can sneak one if they can get past Miami or Stanford.
Braxton?
I'm going Georgia Tech. I think they just have a bit of an easier path than Carolina, and I think they will match up in the final. I just think they're the 2 best teams, clear 2 best teams in this conference. Now, if Florida State, Miles Bailey wasn't injured, I was really high on them, and they still are very good too. Don't get me wrong, but with Carolina having to probably play a Florida State or a Wake in the semis, I like Georgia Tech to get back and take that kind of revenge spot against Carolina, who beat them in the regular season 2 out of 3.
Philip?
Yeah, I just, with the Miami-Boston College game, they could beat each other up too. But once they get there, do they have more to play for than a Georgia Tech, who already knows they're going to be a national seed? So, I don't know, but it seems like the ACC, it's never the favorite. So I'm going to go with the whoever ends up winning the BC-Miami game if they do face off against each other. And, I'm just going to lean BC because they've got to play one less game than Miami.
That is fair. If I had to pick, I'd just go North Carolina. I just love the pitching. It's just a matter of how much do they want to push the pitching when they don't even really need to. I mean, I guess it could help their overall seeding even better, but they're going to be one of the top seeds regardless. So I'm just going to go Carolina because they're the best team, in my opinion. All right, again, you're not gonna take your Blue Devils to make a run, Philip?
No,
that's fair. Still 13-8, top 8. All right, SEC tournament going on in Hoover. The action underway there. You've got Ole Miss and Missouri in the 9-16 game. Vandy, Kentucky, Tennessee, South Carolina, Oklahoma, LSU later today. Mississippi State, Florida, Arkansas, Auburn all have single byes, and you have top-seeded Georgia, second-seeded Texas, third-seeded Texas A&M, fourth-seeded Alabama with byes into round 3. This is single elimination. So who do y'all like? Big storylines in the SEC. It feels like it's been a little bit of a weird year in the SEC. Like, we're not used to necessarily seeing Georgia and Alabama at the top of the SEC in baseball, and LSU, Tennessee, Vandy towards the bottom. But here we are, Casey.
Yeah, I think the real storyline is just like you said, LSU, Tennessee, and Vanderbilt being towards the bottom. And last night on our previous show, we didn't go too in depth about the SEC because our lone team, South Carolina, I mean, they're just an absolute train wreck. They play Tennessee today, but all of us picked different SEC champions, which I think is pretty neat. Braxton had Texas, myself, Alabama, Colby, Georgia, Matt, Texas A&M, James, Ole Miss, and Reed had Auburn. But I'm going to be honest, I don't watch too much SEC baseball, and kind of like you said, kind of an odd year when I would check into it every single week, look at the standings, and you would see LSU, Tennessee, and Vanderbilt at the bottom. You'd be like, "What in the world is going on?" And then um, also want to touch on Brad Pruitt has had a major impact for the Bulldogs winning their SEC regular season title.
Is that a factual statement?
No, he pitched 7 2/3 innings with an 8.32 ERA on the season.
I think the terrible splitter he threw to Colby Thorndike is still in orbit somewhere in that regional last year. Braxton, what you got in the SEC tournament?
That's funny, Stephen. You make an interesting point about kind of some unfamiliar teams being at the top. It almost looks like the football standings with like Georgia, Alabama,
It
Texas,
does.
and A&M as the top four. But I think there's comfortably 7 hosts, we'll call it. I think maximum amount of hosts you're going to see out of this league is 8, which would be a lot, obviously. I think Texas is the most complete team. Kaysen hinted at it. That's my pick to win this tournament. I think they're, both sides of the ball are very, very good. I think Georgia can hit it really well. We talked about them, but I don't think they pitch it as well as Texas. A&M's one to look out for. When you think about how dominant they were a couple years ago and kind of fell off last year. But I certainly think that, like Kaysen said, this tournament doesn't matter as much in terms of like overall seeding. Well, it does in overall seeding, but it doesn't. All these teams are going to be kind of like you said, Stephen, like worried about where they're placing and saving their arms for that. But I don't see any of these teams playing on day one making a run. It's just too difficult in this type of format. So, unless maybe Tennessee, but other than that, though, I don't see any of them getting out of there. It's interesting, though, to see Tennessee and Vanderbilt and LSU way back, and South Carolina. I'll throw them in there, too. Typically very, very good baseball programs just at the bottom of the barrel here.
Yeah, Vandy is 14-16 in the SEC, which typically will get a team in, but just 73 in RPI, 5-16 quad one. So I guess if they made a run, could they get in? Are they a team that's projected in right now? I mean, I feel like with those metrics, especially with all their advantages, it'd be kind of hard to put them in.
I think their RPI is too low. I mean, you think this is the A&M of this year, right? Like they were the number 1 overall seed last year in the tournament. So they kind of, they weren't preseason number 1 or anything like that, but they have, I think you're right. They're 14-16. Typically that would get you in the SEC, and their RPI is just too low for me. Now, maybe if they beat Kentucky and beat Florida, there will certainly be some people saying that they should be in. So we'll see if they do that. But yeah, it's kind of a weird year with Vandy being, coming off a number 1 overall seed, but we know how they go about it. They revamp every year, and, they lose a lot of high school recruits too to the draft too. So it's Tim Corbin does a great job with that program. He has for years, but definitely a down year for the Commodores.
So as you mentioned there, they play Kentucky today. Kentucky, a lot of people having them right now as last 4 in. If you're an East Carolina fan, guys, are you hoping Vandy upsets Kentucky and then Vandy just gets throttled by Florida? Is that kind of the best case scenario for ECU right now?
Yeah, I think so. As much as you don't want to pull for Florida after what happened last year.
Yeah.
Vandy, by the way, and I know they play in the SEC, but 246 non-conference strength of schedule is not good, and still 50.
That's what's killing their RPI.
Yeah, I mean 52nd strength of schedule sounds good in theory, but when you, throw in the fact you're playing the SEC every week, just shows how weak their non-conference was. So, any pick for the SEC tournament, Philip? Before we get a break in,
LSU to make a run. No, I'm just kidding.
Hey, crazier things have happened.
No, probably Ole Miss, maybe Arkansas. I'll go Ole Miss.
All right, give me Texas. I'm with Braxton here. I'll go with the boring pick. They're just really good. All right, there's your SEC, ACC talk. Let's get a break in. We'll run through the Big 12, Big 10. Also the Sun Belt, a lot of intrigue with teams in the region. We got to hit on that. Duke, by the way, up 15-8 now over NC State, going to the bottom of the 8th. So things not looking good for the guys in Raleigh. We'll get a break in. We'll come back. We'll continue on after this.
This is about you, your family, and the health of all who live in Eastern North Carolina. This is about the transformation of a health system into something more powerful and more human, about creating new ways to treat disease and keep you well. This is about ECU Health, which is to say, it's really all about you. ECU Health. Minds, hearts, purpose.
You have a choice when you invest in insurance, and when you choose First State Insurance Advisors, you're working with people you can trust. Clark Stallings has deep ties in the community. His team, including Keaton Smith, Regina Asby, Phil Leyva, Max Joyner Jr., Max Joyner III, and Ginger Smith, provides knowledgeable and professional advice. First State Insurance Advisors is an independent insurance agency. They offer all types of personal insurance as well as various types for business. Call or email First State Insurance Advisors today. We want to be your trusted choice agency.
Acre Station Meat Farm, along with Lane Angus Beef, bring you Farm to Fork Beef.
Stock your freezers now with affordable beef boxes, just in time for the grilling season.
Farm to Fork Beef brings quality local beef to your family. From your traditional butcher shop, Acre Station Meat Farm. Come on down to Acre Station Meat Farm and find out why we're #1 in fresh cuts and friendly service.
Acre Station Meat Farm, Highway 32 North, Pinetown.
In Eastern North Carolina, people appreciate things that are straightforward, honest, and dependable. For decades, our team has focused on cutting through insurance complexity for the communities we serve. And now, we're bringing that same mindset to our name. We're Flatlands Insurance Group, a simpler name that reflects the same local team, the same values, and the same commitment to the great communities we feel blessed to be a part of. Flatlands Insurance Group, your whole world is covered.
Make every day electric on the Kawasaki Electro 20 electric balance bike. Maximize the fun with long run times, impressive top speed, and Kawasaki build quality. Easy adjustability and smooth handling make everyday riding more enjoyable. And the standard MTB type tires provide off-pavement capability. The Kawasaki Electro 20 is the electric balance bike that's built to rip. Go to Ron Ayers Motorsports, Memorial Drive north of the airport, Greenville.
Inner Banks Media presents the return of Concert on the Common.
This year, we're live from the tailgate lot at Dowdy-Ficklin Stadium.
Coming up May 21st, Trial by Fire, a tribute to Journey.
Join us Thursday, May 21st for Trial by Fire at the new Tailgate Plaza next to Town Bank Tower at Dowdy-Ficklin Stadium.
Details at concertonthecommon.org.
ECU fan, one stop for all things ECU athletics. This is Hoist the Colors with Steve Nigo on 94.3 The Game.
All right, welcome back in segment 3 here, Hoist the Colors. We've talked ECU, we've talked ACC tournament and SEC tournaments. Let's start with the Sun Belt, gentlemen. We've got Kason Romeli and Braxton Baldor from Carolina Curveball. Check out their podcast, their projections, their social media pages throughout the week. Awesome time of year. Philip Pilkington producing. And the Sun Belt has like almost as many teams on the bubble as any league entering conference tournament week. Now, this is also a different format. Single elimination Tuesday will feature Marshall versus Louisiana, the 10 and 7 seed, and then 9-seeded Georgia State and 8-seeded Old Dominion. Then the winners of those go into a double elimination bracket with a winner-take-all finale at the end of the week. So there's a lot going on here. Southern Miss, the 1 seed, obviously hosting Coastal, the 2 seed. They've kind of played their way out of the host mix. Maybe if they win the tournament, they can get back in. You got Troy, South Alabama, Texas State, all on the bubble here as amongst the top 6 seeds. So what intrigues you here, Case, and we'll start with you in the Sun Belt?
I think the first thing that intrigues me is, can Coastal Carolina get back to their form? I mean, the 2 last weekends of the season, you drop a series versus Old Dominion and then Louisiana. And then on the flip side of that, that really put Louisiana into that bubble area for the NCAA tournament. So that's big. And I'm also looking for App State here to make a run. We've been pretty high on them all year. Heath Blackman from he was at ECU for some time. He's done a fantastic job there. Gage Peterson for them, App State pitcher. He won pitcher of the year in the Sun Belt, if I'm not mistaken. So great job there by them. And they have and App State has some dogs all over the field. Charlie Evans has been one of the top batting average leaders in the Carolinas. So looking for App State to make a little bit of a run. That would not be good for ECU's sake at all, but for the Carolina sake, if App State can maybe beat Coastal Carolina in that next game, that'd be pretty cool to see.
Braxton, who if anyone, like how do you differentiate these bubble teams in the Sun Belt, or is it just going to come down to how they perform this week at this point?
I mean, definitely how they perform this week. I think you got to look at, kind of their quad 1 and quad 2 records, I think is really important. I think right now the team that we kind of gave the nudge to was Louisiana after this weekend against Coastal. But, there's a lot of teams right there on the bubble with, you mentioned Texas State, Troy, also South Alabama, even Arkansas State is right there in the 60s in RPI. But I think it does come down to how you perform this week. I think you got to win as many games as possible if you're on that bubble. App State isn't really on the bubble, but there's a team that could steal a bid right there. I mean, like Kaysen said, we've been high on them all year. That's the team I'm pulling for in this tournament, just because they're in the Carolinas, in our state, in North Carolina, and I think they've been really, really good. And it's kind of gone under the radar too. Like, they played Coastal really tight when they played that series. They almost should have won. They didn't end up getting a game, but they proved they could play with them. So I think that if they're able to find some hot bats here this week, that could be a little Cinderella team. So watch out for them. But, if I had to give the nudge to someone right now, it's Louisiana. I think they're the best team out of those bubble teams. Texas State is very good too. They can hit the ball, but those two teams are 16 and 14 in the Sun Belt, right? So it's not like they've been too, like the Sun Belt after you get past Coastal and Southern Miss, it's been really, a lot of teams are right there, right around 500. So it's not really, it's probably the 5th best conference. Maybe the American too. American guys might not like that I said that, but the Sun Belt certainly has a lot of really good bubble teams, and it's going to be interesting to see how they play this week.
I think that's fair. Yeah, Sun Belt ranked 5th in RPI, just ahead of the American. So I mean, I personally think the Sun Belt's a better league. Maybe not the bottom of the league, but definitely the middle to upper part. Who do y'all have winning the Sun Belt?
Southern Miss.
Braxton has Southern Miss. I have Southern Miss. Colby has Coastal Carolina. Matt, Southern Miss. Reed, Southern Miss. And then James has the Raging Cajuns winning it.
Of course, James does. I'm going Coastal. I think they get back to their winning ways. And here's the question, does that do enough for them to host? You guys think they host if they win the tournament? Or is it too far gone?
Yes.
Yeah?
I think if they win the tournament, they will host. I think they'll be like 15 or 16 at that point. That's the only way, though, in my opinion, that they host.
Do you guys think Southern Miss is locked in to host, or can they go in there and shoot themselves in the foot?
I think
so.
A lock.
I mean, right now we have them the 8 seed, so right now we have them as a top 8. So I think they can play themselves out of a top 8. I wouldn't say they'd play themselves out of a host.
Southern Miss, 13th in RPI, 8th non-conference in the schedule, 7-5 quad 1, 16-5 quad 2. I think they deserve to host, even if they go over. But definitely, like you said, top 8, still fighting for that. Let's move on, gentlemen, to the Big 12. This is also a single elimination format now with 12 teams. You've got Texas Tech as the 12th seed. Man, they have had a fall from grace under Tadlock. They're playing BYU today. You got Utah versus Kansas State. And if you haven't been paying attention to the Big 12 at all this year, you'll be shocked to know that the Kansas Jayhawks are the best team in the Big 12. You also have West Virginia up there, Arizona State, which, historically a very good baseball team, and then UCF is the 4th seed. So I'm going to be honest, I've watched zero Big 12 baseball this year, and when I looked at this stuff a few weeks ago, I'm like, there's no way Kansas baseball is that good. But I know they've been hitting the JUCO ranks hard, Kaysen, and apparently they're doing something right down up in Lawrence, Kansas for this.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I haven't watched much more Big 12 baseball than you, but I do know that in our last Field of 64 projections made by Braxton and Reed last night, They have East Carolina making the trip up to Morgantown, West Virginia. That will be one heck of a trip if true. Braxton has Oklahoma State. I have UCF. Colby has Kansas. Matt and James have West Virginia. And Reed has Oklahoma State. Also, Cincinnati has been very good this year as well. Kind of makes me want to say you kind of wish Central Florida and Cincinnati had that back when they were in the American to help that American race at that time.
Does anything stand out about the Big 12 to you, Braxton?
Yeah, I think, just the two teams that potentially could host, obviously Kansas and West Virginia, they've had great years. West Virginia actually swept Kansas, I believe. And West Virginia is a program that's been on the right trajectory. You think back to the last couple of years, they've been to back-to-back super regionals, so they've been right on the door there, trying to knock it down. But there's a lot of teams that are two seeds in this right now, or borderline twos and maybe threes. You look at Arizona State, Cincinnati, that's a big matchup. UCF and Oklahoma State. I think Oklahoma State's the hottest team in this league right now. That's kind of my reasoning for picking them. And then, you look at a team like TCU too, that is a three right now that could play themselves in a little bit higher. But, Oklahoma State was a team that when we first started doing our projections, they were kind of on the bubble, and they have played themselves right into a two seed right now. So I look for them to play really well in this tournament, but you can't count out Kansas and West Virginia. They've both played the best of baseball this season in the Big 12.
The Big 10 will take place in Omaha. I guess this is a potential home field advantage for Nebraska. UCLA, obviously, one of the most dominant regular seasons of all time. We're not going to spend too much time on this, guys, but it is worth mentioning Nebraska, Oregon, UCLA, USC all having very good seasons. And if you're ECU, you just don't want Michigan or Purdue to go on a run here because they're bubble teams now. Purdue already losing 8-4 in the bottom of the ninth, so they may suffer a setback here right out of the gate. But anything worth mentioning with the Big Ten, Kaysen, or is it just Big Ten baseball?
It's just Big Ten baseball. I've said, Stephen, with you for years, Big Ten baseball is not real, but I can tell you one thing that's real, and that's the UCLA Bruins. They are for real. They have an unbelievable baseball team. But I will say, my bold prediction last night on the show was the field will win the Big Ten tournament.
I feel like that's a good prediction because what does UCLA really have to play for?
Correct.
They're incredible.
They're
locked in number one, right? There's no scenario. I know they've dropped a couple games recently. There's no scenario they end up even the number 2 seed, right?
48-6. I guess if Georgia Tech or North Carolina won the ACC, maybe you can make an argument, but I don't even think you can, realistically. Braxton, your thoughts?
Yeah, I think they probably have the 1 seed locked up, but the gap was certainly closing here down the stretch a little bit. But I think, they've just been so dominant. You ask about what you have to play for, maybe, some records or something that they could break. I'm not really sure how that would work, but I'm assuming there's probably some Big Ten records they could break in terms of record. But this team's just too dominant for me. If it was UCLA versus the field, I'm picking UCLA here. I don't see any way that they lose twice in this tournament. Or is it single limb? I'm not even sure.
Yeah, once you get to the 1 through 4 seeds on Friday, it is single elimination. Yep.
Well, then there's definitely been some teams that have proven they can play with them or beat them even. So, that might be your best bet. But yeah, like you said, Stephen, you hit the nail on the head with the 4 teams: Nebraska, Oregon, obviously UCLA, and then USC are those 4 top tier teams. And then you look at Michigan and Purdue right on the bubble there. Other than that, though, you're not looking at too much here in the Big Ten.
You know what's crazy, real quick, and it's off topic of baseball, but no one in LA cares about UCLA. They just won the national championship in women's basketball. They just won the national championship in beach volleyball, and now they're probably going to win it in baseball. Why can't a team with an actual fan base who people care about have that success? Why can't we have that success?
It would be nice. Shout out Bryant Ward, ECU alum, who is, I think, the recruiting coordinator at UCLA. So at least somebody that cares about baseball within the program it'll mean something to him. But yeah, even when they host regionals, they historically don't have many people show up at the games.
They should sell it out. They only got 1,900 seats.
Yeah, and it's tough to get there. So we'll see. But definitely you cannot deny their success, their talent. Let's get our final break in, gentlemen. We'll come back. We'll hit any other tournaments we have not touched on quickly to wrap up the show after this.
The power of savings is yours at Greenville Toyota with powerful deals on our huge selection of new Toyotas, like a Camry, $229 a month, or the all-new RAV4, $279. Don't miss the power of savings at Greenville Toyota.
In Eastern North Carolina, hard work matters, and it always has. At Flatlands Insurance Group, we've been showing up for our neighbors since 1963, helping families and business owners navigate change, weather tough seasons, and keep moving forward. Decades later, our purpose hasn't changed: to help protect what you've poured your time and energy to, from your home to your health to whatever comes next. Flatlands Insurance Group, your whole world covered.
Need cash for a vacation? National Finance Company is here to help. For over 50 years, National Finance Company has been the small loan specialist with loans from $1,000 to $5,000 with low payments to meet your budget. We're in the business of getting you the cash you need today. Apply online for a loan at one of our convenient branch offices and get your money as fast as today. It's easy. Get the vacation cash you need. For extra cash, visit nfcmoney.com.
Your future is full of possibilities, and Pitt Community College can help you explore every option. You can earn a degree, learn a trade, transfer to a university, or launch a new career. We offer the support you need to succeed with flexible schedules, affordable tuition, and programs designed for the real world. Your path, your future, your college. Pitt Community College. Register now.
Visit Larry's Steakhouse for a tender, hand-cut certified Angus ribeye. Other entrees include perfectly seasoned pork chops, chicken, or seafood favorites like shrimp, tuna, and salmon. Complement your meal with Larry's fresh 20-plus item salad bar, or enjoy it as an all-you-can-eat entree. Daily rotating favorites include meatloaf, chicken pastry, hamburger steak, spaghetti, pork chops, and more, all complemented with your favorite country sides. Whether it's for lunch, dinner, or our Sunday brunch, remember to support and eat local. Larry's Steakhouse.
The hunting and fishing event of the summer comes to the Greenville Convention Center, July 11th and 12th, bringing together the best hunting and fishing vendors, outfitters, and fishing experts, all under one roof. Special free events, including a mountain trout pond, indoor archery range, offshore fishing experience, interactive duck blind, and free seminars. Don't miss it. The Mid-Atlantic Hunting and Fishing Expo is July 11th and 12th.
With new Toyota trucks from $259 a month, you've got the power of savings at Greenville Toyota. Drive Tacomas $259 a month or Tundras only $399 a month at Greenville Toyota, where our volume saves you money.
Hoist the sail!
Climb aboard as we set sail and hoist the colors.
Ahoy, me hearties!
Back to Steve and Igo on 94.3 The Game.
Final few minutes of the show here. We've got Casey Ramaley, Braxton Bodorf hanging out from Carolina Curveball, Philip Pilkington producing as well. Johnny Stats in the chat says that ABS challengers are 4-1 in the SEC tournament. Missouri 4-4, and Ole Miss has missed this only challenge. So that's going down in Hoover. Quickly, guys, we'll kind of go final thoughts on other tournaments we haven't hit on in depth, and there's plenty of them. We'll start Kaysen. What are you really keeping an eye on, either in the region or nationally?
Keep an eye on the SoCon tournament. Mercer seems to be an at-large team with their RPI so high, and they're the 1 seed, and Western Carolina is on the other side. Heck of a season for Western Carolina. Pirate fans know all about the Catamounts as they shut out East Carolina. Also, Wofford and UNCG and the Citadel in there could make some noise, but going to be watching the SoCon tournament played in Greenville, South Carolina.
Greenville SC. What do you got, Braxton? What else piques your interest around this week?
I got to go with my upstate boys, man. My alma mater. I'm hoping that they can go back to back here in the Big South. You know, they haven't had the season they wanted to, but they've been the hottest team as of late. I was able to go out there last year in High Point. This year it's in Asheville, so I'm hoping that they can bring it home and go to another regional. But and then also my bold predictions. I hope that Campbell comes through with in the CAA, they're going to have to go to Wilmington on Wilmington's home field and win that tournament. And then Western was my other team that I have winning the SoCon. So going to be pulling for those two as well. But hopefully the Upstate boys can go to another regional as well.
I'm looking at Conference USA. I feel like this is kind of a slept-on league. And the bottom of the league isn't good, guys, but Jacksonville State, Liberty, Missouri State, Louisiana Tech, Dallas Baptist, can DBU make a run in the tournament? So I'm curious, and you've mentioned that's pod play, Kaysen,
yes,
for Conference USA. So, I don't know who that advantage is for, but, do you have a bid stiller there potentially for ECU? Obviously, you hope not, but –
are the top three of those, Missouri State, Liberty, obviously Jacksonville State's in, are those three you guys think comfortably in, even if DBU or Louisiana Tech would win it?
I think so.
Yeah, yes. Based on their numbers, I think so. I'm looking at the Carolina Curveball projected field of 64. They have them all in, so, to me, that
there you go.
That lines it up. And you can follow Carolina Curve BB on Twitter. Gentlemen, great stuff today. When's y'all's next podcast,
That is a great question. We do not know because it really depends on what we want to do for the conference tournaments, because we want to do one Thursday or Friday, but some of the teams would have just played their first game, so we don't really know.
That is fair. It is a fluid time of year, but that's what also makes it fun. Appreciate both of you guys. We are out of time, but follow Kaysen O'Malley, follow Braxton Bodorf, their whole team. They do a phenomenal job covering not only teams like ECU, but all throughout the region, giving all those programs love. Shout out to Philip Pilkington, intern Mary as well. We got to get out of here. We'll be back Wednesday, 12 noon. James Giglio, we'll visit with him, break it all down, whatever's happening in college baseball, NBA playoffs, NHL playoffs, and more. We'll see you then on HTC.